Hi guys, welcome back to another episode for our free talks. This time we're going to be practicing the topics in book number 4, unit number 11, which is about environmental issues, environmental matters, environmental problems. So I'm going to be asking you questions about the current trends and most common problems about the environment and whatever you're doing or you have been doing in order to solve or in order to help solve this problem. Alright, so let's get started. The first question is going to be, what environmental problems are you concerned about? Well, there are three main environmental problems I'm concerned about. Number one is the depletion of natural resources. Number two, water consumption. And number three, landfill. Nowadays a lot of families are trying to afford or buy cars or motorcycles or things like that to commute or go to work or to school. And as a result, we're using more and more natural resources such as water and oil. So I believe that the best thing to do here is to use public transportation. More and more money should be invested on public transportation so people use less natural resources. Water consumption, for example, nowadays people are not concerned, or at least they don't seem to be concerned at all about the way they are using water, the way they consume water. You can see, for example, this motorcycle or car wash, where these guys they use or misuse the water washing these motorcycles, these hundreds and thousands of motorcycles we have, also cars. People are watering their lawns almost every day. So in order to save water, people should uh, wash their cars or motorcycle once or twice a week and water their lawns at least once a week. So that way we will be spending a little less water and helping to decrease water consumption, overall. Landfills. Me, for example, I like to recycle. I recycle uh, glass, uh, paper, almost everything that can be recycled. However, when the trash car comes to pick everything up, they take everything to a landfill, and then the process or the process of recycling basically stops there, and everything is dumped into a landfill, and consequently it's like I'm doing nothing. Like everything is dumped into the same place, glass, paper, biodegradable, and everything in the same place. So I think if we continue behaving this way, like not taking care of our garbage, then eventually we're gonna have a big problem to deal with. So these are my three main concerns about environmental issues. And what are you doing to help? Well, as I said before, as I was telling you, I'm trying to recycle mostly paper, glass. I'm trying to, I'm taking showers instead of bath because taking a bath, requires a lot more water than taking a shower. So I'm taking showers instead of bath. I have a motorcycle and I try to use it the least possible. So I sometimes I try to use my bicycle instead of my bike. If it is like a short distance, like I have to, like a 5, 10, 15 minutes ride, I use my bicycle instead of my motorcycle to use less gas, to use less oil. And what else? I'm washing my motorcycle once or twice a week at the most. I never like wash my motorcycle every day because I know, I'm pretty concerned about water consumption, so I try not to do it pretty often. Another thing is, well, we try to recycle as much as we can, from even plastic bottles. Like whenever I have to buy some bottled water at a store, then I refill this bottle of water and I use it like over and over till I can, the most I can. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, and what's the major environmental problem in your city? Well, right now, I believe that our major environmental problems is traffic congestion. Okay, Pedro de Heredia Avenue is being rebuilt, or it has been rebuilt for over 2 to 3 years, and it's made traffic even worse than it was before, because right now there are not enough highways, not enough avenues, so all the cars, all the buses, motorcycles, they run on the same avenue, and it makes traffic even worse. So the government is trying. Well, some highways, some new avenues are being built these days, but honestly, the problem hasn't been solved at all, and I feel like the city is even worse. I mean, transportation here is even worse than it was 2 or 3 years ago when we had the old Pedro de Heredia Avenue. So yeah, that's it. Uh, Traffic congestion is one of the major problems right now in the city. And what do you think is being done about it? What's the government or the community where you live in doing about it? Well, as I was telling you, the government has been trying to accelerate all the process of building this new avenue. However, it's been very slow. The process is been taking too much time, and as a result, traffic congestion is becoming even worse. All right. So, for example, right now, more motor taxis are being used, so people can commute a little faster. Because, me, for example, I'd rather use a motorcycle instead of a bus, because if you're going downtown, for example, it's gonna take you 1 hour to get there by bus. On the other hand, if you take a motorcycle, it's a little bit more expensive, of course, but you're gonna get faster. So I think it's better to commute or go everywhere on motor taxi. It's way better. All right. Now, having a healthy living and being in shape is becoming a big trend these days. So, what do you think about it? For example, people who are obsessed about overweight. What do you think about that? Well, being in shape, as you said, is becoming a big trend. Mostly because the massive media, the TV, the newspapers, and the radio are promoting the idea that to fit in society, to be acceptable to society, requires you to have a stereotype kind of body, like this 90, 60, 90 shape that most women dreams to have. So I think this is one of the major reasons why a lot of people, especially women, are obsessed with overweight. They don't want to be overweight. Another thing could be the workplace. When you go to a job interview and for some reason you are a little chubby, a little overweight, it's like people feel like they are in a disadvantage compared to those who are in a better shape. Maybe they are working out and they look a little nicer, a little healthier, a little better. So today's world is becoming highly competitive, and even the way you look makes a big difference when it comes to getting a job, socializing, dating. So I think that's basically the reason why a lot of people are becoming obsessed with being overweight. They don't want to. They would do whatever it takes to not being overweight. Do you agree with people working from home? I mean, is it a good or a bad idea? Well, if you ask me, for the most part, I think working from home is a great idea. Basically because, nowadays, one income family is impossible. Like only one father, the father or the mother working to, get pay bills, buy food. Only one income family is not enough. Both parents have to work because everything is becoming more and more expensive. So when you have the opportunity to, for example, work from home, you can make some money and at the same time take care of your children. That way, you will be, checking on them, taking care of them, and you will be saving the money that you would have to pay to in a daycare center or something like that. So that would be way better. You can take care of your children and at the same time make some money working from home. Now, if you're not a committed person, if you are one of those people who have a lot of problems focusing, working by themselves, then working from home is not for you. Working from home should be for people who are committed, who can focus, who do well and perform well, working individually, working by themselves. If you can handle it, if you can deal with it, then go for it. Then working from home would be the best for you. And I do agree that working from home is a good idea if you have what it takes to work from home, of course. Okay, and what can people do to work from home? Oh well, as I mentioned before, you can work for a call center, answering customer service, as answering customs questions about any service or products that the company sold them. If you're a teacher, you can give or offer online classes, which is right now it's very common, given that a lot of people don't have enough time to commute 1 or 2 hours a day to attend classes. So online teaching and online learning is becoming a trend, and it's becoming more and more popular nowadays. So that's something you can do. You can, if you're a teacher, if you can teach any subject, any skill, then online teaching would be a great idea to make some money. Well, that's pretty much it. You can work for a call center, you can teach online, things like that. You can do some telecommuting. All right, and what about losing your job? I mean, do you think people are concerned about being laid off because their jobs are being outsourced to workers overseas? Absolutely, yeah. People, especially here in Cartagena, with this thing of the uh, people in this company, they a lot of jobs have been outsourced to workers from the United States, Canada, and other countries or cities, because here in Cartagena, people there are not skilled workers to do those kind of jobs, and so right now, even the people who are working there are afraid that they might be laid off at any moment because they don't have the skills, they don't have what it takes to perform or do their job. So some of these jobs are being outsourced to people from overseas. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people are afraid to lose their job because maybe they don't speak a second language, maybe they don't know how to operate a certain machine or some processes that are necessary in a company. So another thing is the working field, even tourism, education, uh, health, healthcare, everything is becoming more and more competitive. So it's not enough to have an undergraduate degree. Now you need to have a master or a PhD in order to guarantee a stable job. So if you only have an undergraduate degree and that's it, then another person can come along with a master or a PhD plus speaking a second or third language, which makes it harder to get a job or have a stable job. So I think, yeah, for this reason, I believe a lot of people are really concerned about losing their jobs or their jobs being outsourced to people from overseas. All right, and which changes in the workplace have you noticed over the past few years? I mean, what things have been changing in the workplace over the past few years? Well, I remember a few years ago, maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, there were less benefits. For example, if you became a father, you had to go to work. There was no way you could like spend a little time with your newborn baby, help your wife take care of the baby. These days we have what is called paternity leave, which means when you become a father, when you have a baby, you can take some days off. Some of them are paid leave, sometimes it's an unpaid leave. The good thing about paid leave is that you can spend some time taking care of your new baby and make some money and have your job at the same time. However, getting an unpaid leave is also a good idea, because you're not making money, but at least you are sure that when you come back, your job's gonna be there. So it's gonna be a guarantee that you're not gonna lose your job. Another thing is daycare centers. I've heard that in some companies, some healthcare centers are being created in order to help those employees with children, so they can like bring their children along, work all day long, and then this healthcare center takes care of their children, and then when they get off work, when they finish, they just come along, pick them up, pick their children up, and that's it. So it's more of a fridge, more of a benefit that the company is offering employees. Also vacations, nowadays you have more vacation time, and you even get paid for being on vacation. That's some of the benefits we have nowadays that we didn't have in the past. I have some friends who are learning English because their companies are paying for their courses. Why? Because companies want to have more skillful, more rounded, better rounded, more prepared employees. So these are some of the benefits that we have nowadays that we didn't have in the past, and these are some of the most obvious and most important changes that I have noticed in the workplace over the past few years. Excellent. And what's your opinion about English being made a required or mandatory subject in all high schools? Do you agree with that? Absolutely, absolutely. I absolutely agree with English being made a mandatory or a required subject in all high school. And the reason is, you know, even though even though English is not the most, I believe that English is not the most important language in the world. It's not better than Spanish or Japanese or Italian. But you know, it's becoming the language for technology, for education, for socializing, for networking. So making English a required subject in all high school is a great idea because it's going to help students prepare better for the working place, for the working life. It's gonna make of them better workers, more prepared workers. Ready to handle and deal with different situations, especially when they have to interact with workers, co-workers, or bosses who do not speak the language, do not speak Spanish. Um, and nowadays, whoever does not speak English is totally out. I mean, you gotta speak English because I'm telling you, that's it's not the first language in the world, but it's the most widely second language spoken in the world. So if you meet a Japanese person, if you want to study uh, any kind of subject, usually most of the important and key resources of information are written in English or comes from videos that are in English. So uh, you will not understand as long as you don't know English. So yeah, it's a great idea to make English a required subject in all high schools. Good. Now let's talk a little bit about gadgets. All right. Which gadgets or new technology do you use regularly? Well, I consider I'm not pretty much of a savvy tech. Like sometimes there are some gadgets that I find really difficult or kind of complex to get used to and use. But for the most part, I use smartphones. I have a smartphone, a tablet, and a laptop. And sometimes I also use my MP3 player. Those are the gadgets that I use most regularly. And has technology changed your life in any way? Well, yes, absolutely. Technology has changed our life in many different ways. For example, in the past, when you wanted to learn or study something, you had to either hire someone, pay someone to teach you, or go to a library. And then you had to commute for 1, 2 hours to borrow a book from the library or attend classes like regular classes and everything. And so to have access to different kinds of information was really It took a long time and it was kind of difficult at many years ago. Now, because of the internet, people have access to almost any kinds of sources of information. You can even study online for free. There are hundreds of courses, English for example, there are hundreds of free online courses to learn English, where you are going to not only read and write or type, but also you're going to see people through video conferences. You're going to be able to talk and listen to people from around the world with different accents, and you can learn almost anything you want to because of the internet. So that I think that technology has changed our life in many different ways. Now, if you, for example, if you come across a new word that you or a word that you don't understand, you just take out your cell phone, Google it, you look it up on a dictionary, one of these apps or applications that you can use as a dictionary, and you find the meaning right away. You don't have to spend hours going to a library to book a book, when you can just download it like a PDF from the internet and read, just about anything. If something happens, for example, an accident, some important event, a sport event or whatever, you have the opportunity to get to know that almost immediately, because all of these massive media and the TV, the radio, and the internet are just linked to this network, are just online. So whatever happens is being broadcast almost instantly. So you can be updated with what's going on around the world immediately because of the internet. Okay, one more question. What's your general view or your general opinion about new technology? Well, overall, I believe that new technology, new gadgets have come to facilitate and make our life better. Okay, uh, a lot of things. If we talk about like more advanced stuff, I've heard that there are even robots that are being programmed to do chores, like for example washing dishes, cooking, cleaning, things like that. Uh, if we talk about gadgets, you can do whatever you want from your cell phone. You can check your email, listen to music, you can take work wherever you go, if you have, of course, a smartphone and an internet connection. All right, music, for example, before you had to buy these actual CDs where you could store, I don't know, 80, 100 songs. Nowadays we have uh, iPhones, we have MP3 players where you can store thousands, hundreds of thousands of songs. Just because technology has been advancing, it's becoming better and more profitable and more user friendly. It's easier to use. It's easier to become used to it. It's easier to use it. So that's my general opinion about technology. And what's the best and the worst thing about new technology? You know, the bad things about it is that, for example, some people, especially with smartphones, they are always checking on their phones, you know, checking on who is updating something on Facebook, who is posting a new picture, who is liking their picture. So it's kind of like a waste of time. That's pretty much the disadvantages of new technology, that it makes you become too dependent. Like if you have, for example, all of your pictures only on Facebook, and then all of a sudden you have a blackout, there is something happens, an earthquake, and then all these computers where your information is stored break down, then there'll be no way to retrieve or recover your information. Okay. Now, if you had all those pictures, or at least some of those pictures, printed in actual paper, uh, that would be better. That would be better, and you won't have to be checking on them every 5 minutes. But if you have them on Facebook, then you want to look at them every 5, 10 minutes every day, looking at the same picture, reading people's comments about your pictures and everything. So that's the worst part about technology and gadgets, that they make us become very dependent. Very dependent. That's the only downside about it.